guys, what's up? It's Paige, and I am going to try my hardest to get this wrap up before the second to last day of May, like I did last month. And so let's get to it. I read 13 books in April. I had 1 6-star, 8 5-stars. It was a really good month. 2 4.5 stars, 1 4-star, and 1 3-star. And since I did do Romance-Opoly-thon, there were 7 books in that readathon, and I'm only going to just mention the title, author, and star rating. And if you want to see my thoughts on it, I'll leave a link to my wrap-up, my Romance-Opoly-thon wrap-up, and you can go check that out, or you can check out the blog Goodreads page, because they are up. So the first book that I read in April was Just Neighbors by Charity Farrell. This was not a book that I got based on the cover. This cover is not the best. And the hero, he looks like he's probably in high school, but he's not. Him and the heroine are 28. And it's hate to love, enemies to lovers. I saw, a little snippet of it. I'm just like, damn, I need to read that. So I borrowed it from KU, and yeah, I gave it 3 stars. It started out really strong. I did actually go check out reviews after I finished it, because I wanted to know if I was the only one who was kind of like salty about the book. And there was one review that I read that they mentioned how the heroine, she's really supposed to hate the hero because he did her wrong in high school, and just it really affected her, and so she hates him for that. And I mean, it's definitely, there's a lot of sexual tension, and basically they get together like really early in the story, and the reviewer, she was just surprised that heroine would sleep with him so quickly and all of that. And I agreed. I didn't think of it at the time, but I'm like, that's a valid point. And so, but while I was reading, I didn't have a problem with that. I thought it was hot. I was enjoying it at the beginning. I thought it was going to be 5 stars, but around the midway point, it's a good book, but just not really anything to write home about. And then 72% came along, and just something happened that I thought it was going to happen, because there was kind of a bit of like foreshadowing. I just had a gut feeling, and I'm like, no. And then it happened, and I was just like, yeah, this book made me cry. It's going to be really tough to read. It was just like devastating, and in the moment when I was reading it, I didn't really question it until after I got pulled away from the book. Then I started questioning, like, just, I can understand why this event happened. Like, I think I can understand the author's motivations, but I just don't really like the way it went down, and that's okay, because that's me. And I don't know. I don't think something happens to a character, and just, I feel like the character was put there just to further the plot, and I don't really want my heart to get ripped out just as a plot device, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I probably won't read her again, just because, I mean, if that's a theme, I hate unnecessary angst, so yeah, I'm not going there. The next book I read, though, was really awesome, and that was The Boys of Brayshaw High by Megan Brandy. I really loved it. I gave it 5 stars. The heroine, her name is Raven, and she's 17 at this point. Her mom's a shit person, and she gets taken away, and she gets moved to this new place, and she goes to Brayshaw High, and she meets these 3 boys. This is not a reverse harem, okay? And she just totally turns them on their heads, or whatever the saying is, and she doesn't take any of their shit. She doesn't bow down to them. They rule the school and all of that stuff. But yeah, she's just not having any of it, and she gets with the leader, obviously, because, I mean, the queen's not gonna get with anybody but the king, you know what I'm saying? But I really loved it. Raven, I loved her, but she was an exercise in frustration, because she's strong, but she also has a lot of insecurities, and she just doesn't believe that she's really that special, even though the boys really do think that. And The thing that I loved the most about this book was the family dynamic. The boys, they're all been raised together. They're not biological brothers, but that doesn't matter. They're brothers in every other way. And their relationships with each other are just so wonderful. And the best part was that, they really brought Raven into their circle and started to give her like a family for the first time. And I really loved it. And then that ending cliffhanger killed me. And the author's been posting teasers that are not making me feel better. But I'm really excited for The Trouble of Brayshaw High. It's releasing May 28th, and I can't wait. And I'm really excited, but it was really good. 5 stars. I'm super excited. The next book I read was the first book I read for Romance-Opoly-a-thon. It's The Vanished Specialist by Webster and Nicole Blanchard. I gave it 4.5 stars. The second book for Romance-Opoly-a-thon was Antiques and Murder by Elle Griffin. I gave it 4 stars. The third one was Where Bad Boys Are Ruined by Renee. I gave it 4.5 stars. Cipher by Larissa Ione was the next one, and I gave that 5 stars. Dark Lover by J.R. Ward, 5 stars. The Right Swipe, 5 stars by Alisha Wright. Okay, and sorry. And the last one that I read for Romance-Opoly-a-thon was Magic Burns by Ilona Andrews, and I gave it 5 stars as well. And the next book I read was Gluttony by Webster. I gave it 5 stars. It is the 5th book in the Elite 7 series, and oh my gosh, it was so awesome. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go down just because in each book we've kind of gotten a little bit of a refresh, but told from a different perspective in each of the books. And in this one, you start out with God. His name is Baxter, but his last name is Goddard, and so everybody calls him God. I've been really excited for his story because I love me some God. He's awesome, and he's slowly been getting, I feel like, a bigger role in the series as it's gone on. And the book starts out with him completing his task, but there was complications, and it has to do with the heroine, and the heroine, her name is Zamira, and she's a total awesome person. She is. I love her so much. It's an interracial romance, which is awesome. And God, he kind of tries to make it up to her, and at first she wants to have nothing to do with him, but she's alone in the world, and so she reluctantly accepts his help, and she realizes that God, after this event, he really changes. He was really selfish before and just kind of on a path to destruction, but she really grounds him, and there was an element to God that I wasn't really surprised that happened, but at the same time I just wasn't expecting it, and it was horrible that he went through it, but it was just interesting to see it happen in a male, and the way it ended was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? So it's really exciting, and I can't wait to read Sloth. I have it, but I haven't read it because I've been a bit on a reading hiatus. The next book I read was, oh my gosh, that's so bright. Oh no. Okay, The Sun and Her Flowers by Ruby Kaur, I think. And I had never planned to read it, but I watch Katie from Katie's Cuddly Book World. I love her so much. If you haven't checked out her channel, you need to. She's awesome sauce. I watched her review video for this. She read poems, and they were so powerful. They got me. They made me cry, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see if it's at the Overdrive, and it was. And so I read it, and I gave it 5 stars. There was a lot of poems that I did connect to, and I think if you were to pick it up, I think there's something that you could connect to, and it's empowering, and I loved it so much. And honestly, I want to buy it in physical copy and have it. I don't know when I will do that, but I do want to do that. It was just wonderful, and I think anybody could get something out of it. The next book I read was The Rebel of Raleigh High. I got it as an ARC, and I got it because I'm into bad boy high schoolers right now, which sounds bad, but whatever. And I think I said it was by Callie Hart. I gave it 5 stars. I was really only going to give it 4.5 stars, but then we got an extended epilogue and it was short, but it made me cry and it was crazy. This book is really dark. So I said it's really dark, and I meant to say that it has really dark subject matter. One of my best friends is really sensitive to dark books, and once I told her what I'm going to tell you in just a second, she was able to finish reading it, and she really enjoyed it. So don't let that be a deterrent for you, and let's get back to it. If you have any triggers, like skip chapter 24, because that is a hard chapter to read, and honestly, you do not need to read it. You're not going to miss anything. I don't think it was unnecessary. It's just, if it's not going to be safe for your mental health to read it, don't read chapter 24. It was a really good book. I enjoyed it. The heroine, she's been through a traumatic experience and she's pretty much hated by everybody, and the hero, he just came in from a new school or just a new place. He doesn't care that she's basically persona non grata, and he really helps her, I don't want to say move on, but he helps her build a little more confidence and feel safe. He's really awesome. I mean, he's technically the bad boy, but he's really not the stereotypical bad boy. He can be a bit of a turd face sometimes, but for the most part, he's really good to her, and he really appreciates her, and he doesn't take her for granted at all, and he's really, really a good guy. It's the first book by Callie Hart I've read, and there is going to be a second book that I'm thinking is going to release in June. I'm not sure. And I'm definitely going to pick it up because there's still a lot of unanswered questions. They are still together at the end, and I'm pretty confident that they're gonna be together in the next one. And the ending was really intense. Like, I did not see it coming. This was a really good book, and I'm looking forward to reading more of Callie Hart. The last book I read in April was Bad Boy Blues by Saffron A. Kent, and I gave this one 6 stars, and I was really not expecting to do that. I don't give out 6 stars very often. I never know when a new author is gonna be a 6-star read for me. Does not happen very often. There's a few authors that I can count on that I won't be surprised if I read a 6-star book from them, but this was a complete and utter surprise. It's a bully romance. That's why I picked it up, because I've been in the mood, and it was so good. It takes place after high school. The heroine's 19. I believe the hero's a little bit older, and the hero was definitely an ass to her in high school, but she gave it right back to him. She wasn't shy about calling him out or doing anything like that. And she actually works at his parents' place because his family is really rich and they own this, like, hotels. Well, not hotel, but it's a house, but it's like a museum too. It's a thing. And she works there, and he comes back to visit, and they start a romance. And she's surprised. I think she's always kind of had a thing for him, but she was in denial. And just, it's their romance. And I loved it so much. It was just seriously so good. The hero, he was a jerk, obviously, to her, but there's more to him, and he left as soon as he turned 18, and I think it's been 3 years, and he's back now, and so he's grown up a little bit, and he's still kind of an ass, but that's kind of their thing. But he really goes the extra mile for her, and he tries to convince her to be together, and he's always had a thing for her, and just, it's so good. And I'm not explaining how good it is, but it is just, I loved it so much. It was beautiful, and it made me cry, happy and sad tears, and I just loved it so much. And I'm definitely going to read Saffron A. Kent again, and I can't wait. And dude almost took Carter's place, I think, but he didn't, because I still want to read Untouchable, and I still love Carter. So that was my wrap up for April. See you guys.